All right, is the Fury Usyk postponed? Of course, we got Teofimo versus Jamaine Ortiz and much more coming up on Tough Talk Tuesday.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, my right-hand man, my Stephen A. Smith, Robert Alexander. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? What's up?
Not a lot. Let's dive right into it, guys. I want to talk about Fury Usyk being postponed. Rob, what's your take on this? What's with the cut and everything? Like, I don't want to be a boxing conspiracist, but you're talking like this close. You should be boxing or at least sparring with good headgear. You know, something's going to cover to kind of prevent this situation from happening, especially such a huge event.
Well, it allows you to question a little bit about it. I mean, because we all know that Fury wasn't prepared or wasn't as prepared for his last fight. So I kind of have to wonder if he needed more time. And, you know, this cut just propels him or allows him to have enough time to be fully ready for Usyk. The thing is with the media and with the posting and all that crap, it's hard to tell the truth from the lies. Because you have Fury posting pictures of himself, which looks like he's in phenomenal shape. So I don't see how he needed more time. The cut itself, is that really the actual cut? Because even that doesn't necessarily look all the way real, and that could be doctored up as well. So it's a combination of those things where, you know, that causes you to question it. What I do like is the Sheik is giving them not really an ultimatum here per se, but he said, look, nobody's canceling this fight. If you cancel the fight, I'm slapping your ass with the $10 million fine.
My question is can he even back that up? Because, I mean, it's got to be in the contract, right? You can't just all of a sudden be like, oh, you got a $10 million fine. Part of me thinks the Sheik's just talking some shit.
Let me ask you this, Lucas. I don't think you and I would want to be in the position to find out. Okay?
I mean, no.
Because in Saudi over there, they do things really different.
That's true. I don't know how much them contracts hold up down there. But yeah, regardless, it's a clusterfuck. To me and to you, I mean, you got to think, especially after the Ngannou fight, he didn't look the best. Maybe he needs to get a little bit more time, get a little bit more reps, lose a little bit more weight, look the best that he can, because Usyk is that dude. I mean, if anybody's going to beat Fury, if anyone in the heavyweight division can beat him, it's Fury. Or it's Usyk. Other than that, come on, he loses to AJ. He's already beat Wilder 3 times now. Like, do we really think anyone else can beat him? I mean, do you think anybody else can beat him?
No, it's tough to say. Because the heavyweights are trying to start to make a new comeback, especially with this new Saudi invasion. Mm-hmm. They're bringing up a lot of heavyweights right now. But Fury, to me, right now is in question about his age and his health. His age is up there. How far is retirement away? You know, is he taking it too far? Should he retire? He has all these opportunities outside of the ring. That also plays a part in motivation of the fight and everything. So, yeah, I think he can be beat. Not a prime, fit, ready Fury, no. But this version of Fury from what I've seen last go around, last fight, he can be beat.
I mean, Fury's 35. That's not that old. I mean, let's not say like it's drastic or anything, because Usyk's older. Usyk's 37.
And Usyk just now was at the start of the pinnacle of his career. Tyson has been up and down already. Some people could say the ceiling was the win over Klitschko, and he eclipsed that by beating Wilder, and holding the belts and holding his undefeated recognition for this time period. But really, when you look at him outside of Klitschko, outside of Wilder, really, who else has he beat?
You talking Fury?
Yeah.
I mean, he's beaten some names, but I mean, it's nobody that really wants to super brag about. You got Chisora, you got White, of course, Nagano.
These are not the
Steve Cunningham.
These are not the big baby Millers. These are not the three, post 300-pound big baby, I should say, 300-pound big baby Miller. This is not Dubois. This is not
Luis Ortiz. It's not
Luis
nobody
Ortiz.
Like that. I agree.
It's not Parker. It's not Andy Ruiz even. No Joshua on the record.
No, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So what you just said is Fury's maybe a little overrated.
Well, he's had ups and downs in his career. So because of the ups and downs, the retirement always being on the horizon because of what he produces outside of the ring, it raises an eyebrow, It's not like he's in here taking on guys. Look, these guys need to come in here and they need to fight multiple times per year. This once per year stuff shouldn't have ever cut it. I don't know why we accept it right now, but he's only fighting maybe barely once per year. And in some of these fights, like Nagano, that's really not a fight.
Not really. I mean, that should have been really ruled an exhibition in my book, especially with him never fighting a professional boxing fight before. I mean, that's along the lines of the money fight for me, McGregor, Mayweather. I don't think that should have been, an official fight either, but who are we to say? All right. Let's talk this past weekend. Conor Benn victorious over Dobson. But first off, give me what you thought of the fight.
I mean, there's nothing to think about. He fought a no-name fighter and he won, just as he should. There's really nothing to think about. Conor Benn, I'm gonna get in trouble because here I go again. But Conor Benn ain't shit. Okay, to me, there's nobody he's even remotely good that he's fought and beaten. Okay, and he's supposedly at a level where he should be fighting all the big guys in this division, and then we can truly know what Conor Benn is about. But fighting these guys like he's doing now, it's not impressive. It's not fun to watch. It's not fun to look at. It's not.
I mean, we just don't have a measuring stick for him to say, this is how good he is. And to be honest, I hate the fact that Tank's even debating a fight with him. It just make sense. I don't understand. You're willing to go up to take that fight, but you're not willing to fight other people around about your weight. It baffles me. I'm so confused.
Tank can beat Conor Benn.
I'm not saying he can't. My problem again is, why are you avoiding fights at your own weight to go up to then fight Conor Benn, who is a nobody anyway? If we're talking about going up in weight, go up in weight and fight somebody worth a damn. Like, no, go up and fight Conor Benn. Nobody cares.
Well, Conor Benn is a more notable name than some of the guys were wanting to throw at him at his current weight class.
I don't know
Um,
about that.
look,
I mean,
look
even the
at
weight class above of where he's fighting now, you're looking at 135, 140. There's a lot of names there.
that are moving up. You're talking about a lot of names that are moving up.
They might not be if they had Tank as their next fight.
Well, and some of those are politics. I think he wanted to fight Haney. Haney doesn't want to fight Tank. Haney would rather move up in weight to fight somebody else. He's already fought Ryan, which everybody thought was one of the kingpins at that current division. You look at some of the other names that they're trying to call out. Usyk Cruz, he's already beaten. I'm not interested in that.
Hey, he didn't beat him solid though. Like that was a close fight. That was a close fight that I think he needs the rematch because he needs to shut everybody else up. If he thinks he truly won that, he needs to put that exclamation point on there because a lot of people out here saying you lost that fight, Tank.
You have this kid, Matisse, whatever his name is. I don't want to see that. I don't know who that kid is. Conor Benn is obviously a bigger name than him.
Mateus that's a good fight, but I think it's still a premature for that. I think he needs another step up or two fight before that fight happens.
So really, he's just trying to look at names. And again, Tank, regardless of what you said, he's in that position where he knows he can move up and down in weight and it not be a problem. He can go up, take on Conor Benn, and still be comfortable within the lower weights to take on another up-and-coming fighter.
Basically, what you're saying is it's a comfortable enough fight that he feels he can go up and get a win without too much hassle. That's basically what he said. It's an easy go up, grab another victory.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
No, you did say that. You said it without saying it, but you said it.
I'm saying it's a name. It's a name that he matches up with. It's a name that can match up with his. You can't. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, he's obviously going to win that fight," because this is boxing. Anything can happen, especially when you're trying to take risk out there. I'm just saying that it's a guy that stacks up next to him, name-wise, that he can definitely fight.
All right,
with.
I'll give you that. But let's go over the other part of this here. How long do we hold the eggs against him? I know me personally, I'm probably gonna hang it over the head the rest of his life. But that's me. I mean, to me, that's just blatant cheating. I don't see the eggs as a valid excuse. I don't see fucking Mexican meat for Canelo as a valid excuse. I don't accept it. Okay. And it makes no sense to me why we're doing these tests for them to come back and any bullshit answer they give, the WBC or whoever's fucking, fighting it just says, oh, okay. So the only one who's really not giving in is the British Boxing Commission, the British Board of Boxing.
Well, let me ask you this. Did he serve a suspension?
Not from the British Board of Commission. So that depends what you mean. I don't think there was ever a suspension, as far as I know, with anyone else. Just the British, which is stupid. I mean, ridiculous. He can just test positive and nobody gives a fuck. Like, that's basically how it is.
Well, if he didn't serve a suspension, then they're accepting an excuse. And you're right. In terms of testing positive for any banned substances, there should be no excuse. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Go ahead. But if he served a suspension, came back from that suspension, then there's nothing to argue about. There's nothing to be mad about. He served his suspension. Let the kid move on.
I think the problem is it's just so rampant, and anybody that's going to test positive from here on out, I think it needs to be nipped in the bud. Somebody needs to be made an example out of. Instead, we got Big Baby Miller out here who's tested positive I don't know how many times now, and now he's acting a fool too on top of it. Trying to beat people up at a at a car dealership or some shit. It's when do we draw a line? When do we say enough's enough? They need to know that we're not going to forget about this stuff, and that obviously you're juicing, right? I mean, you got eggs as an excuse. How many eggs do you got to eat to test positive for something? Okay. I hear what you're saying. He served a suspension. We should forgive and forget. But my point is, if he really wanted to prove his name, and I know I've said this a lot, but if you just tested positive, you should be signing up and be forced into 24/7 VADA testing. There is no excuse not to. If you've proven that you're shadow of a doubt, hey, I'm clean, this was a mistake, it was the eggs, hey, I'll believe it when you sign up for 24/7 and you don't get popped. But this dude has muscles on muscles, all right? Conor Benn's a ripped dude. We ain't talking about just, some performance-enhancing stuff or just for looks. This is massive. I mean, I don't see eggs as a valid excuse. But, again, I guess, as you said, I should move on from it because he has served whatever suspension that he was given out of the WBC, but I think the British Border Commission is still waiting to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I get it, but I mean, it's not like the rules are changing for anybody. The rules are the same. Do they need to change? Yes, that's absolute. But in terms of what's going on with other fighters, he's getting the same shot, the same chance as Canelo and all the other fighters that are test positive.
And that's my problem is it's all slap on the wrist, especially when you only fight twice a year anyway. It's like you get a 6-month suspension or you get a year suspension from when you tested. So what do you miss out on? One fucking fight, if that. And 9 out of 10 times they don't want to miss out on the money, so the fight ends up happening anyway. Like,
I mean, it's different in other sports because other sports are constantly testing. Whereas in this sport, they're not as much. But even in other sports, you're not suspended for the whole season. There are measures. You're suspended for a period of time, first offense, a period of time, second offense, so on, so on. And there are lifetime bans eventually when you keep breaking the rules in other sports. But you're not, I'm just saying, the suspension, he tested positive, it was acknowledged. A suspension was handed down. He served his suspension. Let him fight.
Maybe it's just the lie. I think honestly, if he just came out and was like, "Yeah, I did it. I took it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna serve my suspension. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna prove I'm clean." That comes off different, But to be like, it's the steak, it's the eggs, it's the steak and the eggs. Like, man, come fuck on with this. Like. We all can see past it anyway. It just makes us not like you that much more. That makes us want to see you fail. I mean, that's just coming from where I'm coming from. But I guess we beat that dead horse enough here. Let's talk Teofimo Lopez and Jamaine Ortiz. I think I spelled that.
So which Teo? That's the question. Which Teo is going to show up? Or is it even going to be a new personality that he unveils for us on Thursday night, folks? This is a Thursday night fight live on ESPN, late night, but it's actually in Las Vegas. The Super Bowl this weekend, of course, is Super Bowl Sunday, is in Las Vegas. So this is the kickoff pretty much to all the festivities for this weekend. And it's a good card. It's a very good card.
Man, you're right. Teofimo is like different every time he steps in the ring. You never know what you're going to get. It's always, very different. Always. And my question is really, can he look different enough to the point where we're worried against an Ortiz?
Well, Ortiz don't have no power. He's same amount of fights almost as Teo has, and he only has 8 knockouts and into a resume that really only has Lomachenko on it, and he lost that damn fight. So none of the other guys he's beaten, they're all no-name fighters, and he couldn't get KOs. So I don't see how even a lackadaisical Tio in the ring might not have that much problems with Ortiz. Now I say that, and Tio's let me down before because he is lackadaisical in the ring, and he's fighting hungry guys now at this point. He's fighting hungrier fighters. So, I think even a wounded Tio or a bad version of Tio should win this fight, but stylistically, and Tim Bradley has a great article on ESPN, not to pub them, but I am, breaking down the styles in this fight. Because stylistically, they have two very separate styles.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Which I still don't think plays out into Ortiz's favor, but I do hear what you're saying. Would you say Tio hasn't fought the style this way before?
But see, I think he has. Yeah. I think he has, especially when he fought Sander Martin. Sander Martin, to me, was really a tough out. And the thing is with Tio is those are learning lessons. And some of the issues with those types of fights is a fighter like Tio says, oh, well, it's his fault. Because he doesn't fight like me, basically. It's his fault that I looked as bad as I did out there because he was, quote unquote, running. No, he wasn't running. He was out boxing you.
Yeah. But you're not wrong here. It does have another good undercard in Keyshawn Davis taking on Jose Pedraza, the sniper. So both those really good fights. I do encourage you both to watch those. Before we talk about them, so Las Vegas odd makers have the champion Teofimo Lopez as a -600 favorite. So is pretty wide. It sounds like Vegas is agreeing with me and you. It should be an easy night for Teofimo. If you want to put your money where your mouth is, that's your odds. Is Keyshawn Davis versus Jose Pedraza a much closer fight in your eyes?
So it's a more intriguing fight. It is a more intriguing fight. It'll be as close as Pedraza is willing to go, though. And I say that because Pedraza has been in wars, he's been in battles, and sometimes where he steps up a level, he loses those fights. And in this one, you're fighting a guy who doesn't have the experience that you do by far. You're the experienced fighter. To me, Pedraza, you're the bigger name in this fight. Despite all that they're trying to build Keyshawn Davis up to be, Pedraza's been featured in these fights on ESPN long before Davis even came into the picture. So Pedraza has to be telling himself, I'm the A side. I'm the elite fighter. I'm the dog in this fight. Keyshawn Davis needs to show me what he's made of. And if Pedraza is willing to go out there and take his whole, because it's going to take that whole tool set he has, he can make it a close fight. He could frustrate Davis, and we haven't seen that before. And to be honest with you, Davis becomes lackadaisical and unmotivated in his fights because he's just been so much more talented, which is why this fight was made, because they want to see him motivated at least in a fight. And Pedraza is going to bring that out of him. So it's a more intriguing fight. as far as the closeness of a being, that depends on both combatants. Because Keyshawn Davis could be completely focused and ready to eliminate Pedraza. And if Pedraza's not ready for it, then it could be a outstanding performance by Keyshawn.
Yeah, I mean, it is a style again for Keyshawn Davis. So Jose Pedraza there's a huge experience gap here. I mean, we're talking 9 fights to a very well-seasoned veteran. I'm not sure how many Pedraza fights offhand, but well above 30, I'm sure. So you have an enormous experience gap. But Pedraza does a lot of things really well. One is jab, one's really control the range. And he can frustrate Keyshawn Davis in this fight. And we're gonna go over this one. We already kind of went over. We both believe Teo is gonna win that fight, so we kind of just mulled that over. But let me ask you, how do you see this fight going? Let's kind of go into more of the predictions now. We both know that Puerto Rican style is very, very disciplined. You know what I mean? It's very, very well refined, and Pedraza does it to a T. You have to be a good fighter. If there is such a gatekeeper to the A side, a gatekeeper to the elite of this division, you got to go through Pedraza, right? I mean, you not only do you have to win against Pedraza, you have to look damn good. And do you see Keyshawn Davis doing that this weekend?
Again, Keyshawn has to be motivated.
But will he be? I'm asking now for predictions. Let's hone in on who do you think's winning. And while you're doing that, I'm pulling up the betting odds for it.
Well, I think Keyshawn Davis will be up for the challenge. I think he knows what he's up against. Like you said, he's only 10 fights in his career. He damn sure better believe he is not the A side in this fight. And he does have to make a statement. He has to make a statement that he's ready for the elite fights. He's ready for the big boys in this one. To me, he has to be willing to do something not a lot of people can do, and that's break down Pedraza.
Yeah, that's a tall feat, especially for somebody who really doesn't have that type of competition as of yet.
And here's the thing too. I don't believe he's been in 10, 12 round fights yet. Keyshawn Davis. I don't think he's been in full 10 to 12 round fights. Maybe his last fight or two, but he's just starting to get in that range. He definitely has never been in a 12 round fight, let alone barely in a full 10 round fight.
Yeah, his last two were both 10s. I'm looking at it. Last 3. One didn't go the full 10 though.
Yeah, and he didn't look sharp in every round, especially those later rounds. He let the competition come back on him or make it look closer than it should be. And he has to break down Pedraza to earn a clear-cut victory. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say he doesn't do it.
So he doesn't stop him, but he is gonna win.
He's going to win. It's going to be much, much closer than he would like.
I agree with you. I think Davis becomes a little too comfortable sometimes and doesn't press the issue. And if you know Pedraza, he's going to try to win that round. I mean, he's given his all the time. So, he's going to steal rounds. Pedraza is definitely going to steal some rounds here. It will be a close fight. It's hard to argue against the A side ever in boxing. Now Pedraza may feel as he's the A side, but we all know on that ticket that he is not. Now I looked up the odds, Rob. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little surprised. I thought Vegas odds would be much closer, but Davis is coming in at an 800 betting favorite over the 530
I take Pedraza.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Pedraza odds are much better. As you were saying, I mean, it could be Pedraza taking him into the late rounds. You know, I mean, drowning him. He hasn't gone the full 12 yet. There's a lot yet left to know about Keyshawn Davis. So I agree with you. I think he's going to eke one out, but it's going to be a decision. And I think it'll be a very close decision. Now, I'm not saying majority or anything like that. I'm still going to go unanimous, but I'm saying only round or two. 115, 113, something like that.
What is the odds on it being a draw?
Oh, never mind. It is not 12 rounds. This is a 10-round fight.
What are the odds of it being a draw?
Don't have that.
Folks, I might take the draw.
But with it being a 10-round fight now, does that make it lean you more towards Keyshawn Davis?
No, because he still hasn't proven to be dominant in a full 10-round fight. Yeah,
and the other thing is Pedraza is kind of on a losing streak lately. He's been having some issues. Arnold Barboza, he just lost against. He had the draw with Comey, and then Jose Ramirez, he lost against. So he's been running into some problems. I'm not saying he can't, jump back from that. And this is also a step up in weight, isn't it, for Davis?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different factors here, but I'm going to stick with what I said. I do believe it's going to be still a close fight, and Pedraza's jab is going to control some of these rounds. And the story of this fight is how Keyshawn Davis gets around it.
And Carl, I absolutely agree with you, man. This is a step in the right direction for Davis. Definitely about time for him to be tested.
No worry, Carl.
But let's see what Davis can do when he is frustrated. Let's see what he can do, like Lucas said, when he is getting hit with a jab back that's stiff and not just out there to be a rangefinder or anything like that. Let's see what he can do against a veteran, well-experienced fighter.
For sure. All right, let's talk Beterbiev-Bivol being set. This fight being set just made my year. Okay, this is fight of the year for me, no matter what, on paper already. Rob, this is a gift from the Saudis. It really is. Really is. I know a lot of people aren't on board with the Saudis. Me, now after this, I'm fully invested.
You're on board.
I'm fully invested. This is a fight that's needed to happen. Beterbiev, I wish it happened a little sooner, but it is power versus skill. That's the way I see this fight. This is the way it should be billed, because it's will he knock out Bivol, or is Bivol's skill too much? And I think we all have wanted this fight for so long that it is well worth the pay-per-view. This is going to be one of the best fights. It really can't let down. I don't see something happening like Spence versus Crawford, where one just, mulls over the other one. Now, Beterbiev does have some freakish strength and amazing power, but I don't think it's going to be so simple. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth in this fight, and I cannot wait.
So you called it. Beterbiev has enough power to knock out anybody he faces. Bivol is known as the person who breaks down power. That's what I'm gonna say it again. Bivol is the ultimate fighter, boxer who breaks down power. He breaks them all down, and it doesn't matter what your name is, how strong you are, what weight class you come from. He's going to break you down. So,
for me, Bivol's a little bit more, or Beterbiev, I'm sorry, is a little bit more one-sided. Bivol's more of like a jack of all trades. And, except in this case, the old saying, "Jack of all trades, master of none." That's not the case here, because I think he's a master of all of them. He may not have that that elite power, but in the way that he controls everything else, it's not needed. He still has enough power to get your respect, to back you off, but it isn't enough to back off Beterbiev.
Well, here's the thing. Bivol has power. He doesn't use it. He doesn't use it. He held back when beating Canelo. He held back when beating Zurdo Ramirez. He held back because he knows he can be caught at any time. It's the complete definition of a complete mechanical boxer. Somewhat on the level at this weight that we've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, he did hold back. I'll agree to that. But he held back for good reason. I mean, he didn't want to overextend. He didn't want to, give anything up. He played it safe, but he won. And he did so against Canelo quite beautifully. And I think the scores were atrocious. I'm sorry, but that should have been all but a shutout in Bivol's favor. But I know you got to make it look good for the other side. We already knew that, but this one is more A-side. How can you even put odds on this, Rob? Like right now, I'm not saying we're making predictions, but just off top, currently, if they had to fight today, who would you say is that Las Vegas favorite?
Vegas is going to put Bivol. I believe they'll put Bivol because Canelo is their ace. Canelo is their ace. That's what they rank every other boxer behind Canelo. And you definitely have to rank Bivol above Canelo right now. So I think that Bivol will be the favorite in this fight, but it is definitely going to be very, very close. Like maybe even 50 points.
Yeah, there's not even like official odds yet, but Bivol opened at 1-1. That's how close this fight is. That's why I want it, man. Like this fight is a true 50-50, to be honest with you. It doesn't really get a lot closer than this on paper.
No, it not on paper, not on anything. If you look at the highlights of both these guys, it's similar. Their highlights are similar against same level type of competition.
Well, I mean, you do got to say Bivol's fought a little bit tougher competition, right?
He fought Canelo tougher. That's it.
But I mean, who really has Beterbiev knocked out? You want to play that game? Who's Beterbiev knocked out?
He knocked out Yardy. He knocked out. I don't think he's won a fight without a knockout, has he? If he has, maybe only one fight.
No, he's 20-0 with 20 KOs. He's 100% KO ratio.
He knocked out this. So you asked, he knocked out everybody he ever faced, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the one that really stuck with me, Rob, if we're talking about it, is Joe Smith Jr. I mean, that dude is powerful and tough in his own right, and the way he took him out was pretty good. So, Caleb Smith, Yarde, Joe Smith Jr., those are the last three fights. Those are all pretty good, solid names, but it's not the Canelo, it's not the face. And yeah, it's all knockouts, so it's a little bit more of a stamp on there. And right now he is VADA testing as well. So Beterbiev, I know he had the heightened testosterone, so we're gonna obviously keep a close eye on that and make sure no VADA testing pop ups during this fight. I really hope everything goes smooth and clean. But Rob, you've seen Beterbiev live. Those punches sounded a little different, didn't they?
Oh yeah, way different than any other fight on that card.
Man, he He does hit hard. I thought I had something else, but Rob, I know you have some rapid fire for us. I do have one other topic, possibly, but it might be a little controversial. We might save that for next week.
So this one right here, definitely everybody chime in. This is my special Super Bowl rapid fire. Okay. And in my fashion, I threw this specific one in here specifically for Lucas.
Oh shit.
and Sakura, but she's not on tonight. So I get to go ahead and pick your brains on this one.
Okay.
In honor of the Super Bowl, which is the Super Bowl we all know is the two best teams in the NFL. So in honor of Super Bowl Sunday, we are going to go over the Super Bowl of fights. And in the Super Bowl of fights, just like there's two best teams in the NFL, I picked the two best fighters in boxing right now. And we're going to go through 6 fights for each. I want to know the winner, and I want to know if it's knockout or decision.
Oh, man. Okay.
The two fighters, drum roll, please. The two fighters are, of course, Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez.
What fucking weight we talking here? That's a big problem too.
My bad. I'm sorry. I meant to tell you. In this Super Bowl matchup, you are not allowed to discuss weight class. This is based off of your opinion of talent and pure talent alone. They are both assumed to be fighting or assumed to be at the same weight in each of these matchups.
If they are legitimately the same size, I'm picking Crawford on that one.
No, we got 6 fights for each guy, 6 different fights for each guy.
What?
So we're going to start with Bud. Okay. I got 6 matchups for Bud. Then we're going to do Canelo. I have 6 different matchups for Canelo.
Okay, so they're running a gauntlet. Okay.
Exactly. In each match, they are all the same weight. We are not considering weight. We are basing it off of talent. All right. You ready to start?
Yeah, let's go.
With Bud. We're starting with Bud. Here we go, Lucas. Tank versus Crawford.
Ooh. That's a good one. I think I would lean towards Crawford. We've seen Davis kind of struggle sometimes with some pure boxers. Raleigh Romero seemed to have his number until he got caught. It's just a matter of will he get caught? And I think Crawford will. I mean, he's been dropped before, but guess what? Every time he's made it to his feet, finished the fight, and won pretty solidly. So I'm going Crawford.
Knockout or decision?
Nah, decision. He ain't gonna knock
decision.
Him out. Yeah.
This is how I got it. Fight number 1, a draw. Fight number 2, Crawford, decision. Fight number 3, Tank, decision. That's how I got that.
Oh man.
All right. Next fight, Shakur Stevenson versus Crawford.
That one is a little bit harder for me just because of the style matchup. Man, that's really put me on the spot. If they had to fight now, I'd still lean towards Crawford only because of experience more than anything. But it would still be a decision, and it would be a very, very close one that I would still lean ever so slightly to Crawford.
Okay. I have Crawford by decision.
Okay.
Teofimo Lopez versus Terrence Crawford.
That one could be interesting in a different way. But again, I'm going to say Crawford, unanimous decision. I mean, he looked a little sloppy versus Kambosos. Maybe I'm still holding that against him. Teo's looked great since. I mean, he really has. He hung in with Loma. And I mean, Loma is a fucking beast. Him and Haney had it out. I really saw Loma winning that fight. I want to give Teo another fair shake at that. I think that's a really good fight that it could happen in the future. But for right now, I got to lean Crawford just by a little bit. It's very close on all those Crawford fights. I really wanted to kind of edge it out with some of them, but no, Crawford's probably pulling away with it just ever so slightly.
I have Crawford by KO.
Really? I mean, there is an instance that I could see that, but I don't know. It's hard.
All right. You brought him up. Devin Haney versus Terrence Crawford.
Oh, I think Crawford's a little bit more. I think Crawford gets Haney out of there.
I
think he stops him.
Think he stops him?
Yeah.
I have Crawford by decision. And I forgot to add on the Shakur Stevenson fight, I have Crawford by decision because Shakur Stevenson will be too afraid of getting caught.
See, I think Haney's chin's not as good as some of these other guys you were mentioning, and I think Crawford is going to catch him at least more than once. And unlike Loma, I think Loma's powers, especially as he's going up, Loma's power means less and less. It's respectable, but it's not enough to really get a lot of people out of there. And I think Crawford's able to take the same advantage. If he's landing those kind of shots, Crawford's going to do a lot more damage than what Loma would have. And I think he gets him out of there, maybe halfway through the fight.
Okay. The Monster versus Terrence Crawford. Innuendo versus Crawford.
That one's so hard. And I know I'm not allowed to talk about weight, but I think that would be obviously a deciding
talent
factor.
Lucas. Talent.
But
you're looking at talent.
Man, there's this. It's just so much, and his power is also so great at that, at his current weight. So, oh man, can I just say draw? I don't know.
That one's gonna be a draw.
That one's gonna be a draw. I can't call that one.
I have Crawford by knockout.
Really?
Yes.
By KO
or TKO.
To the pound for pound king right now, knocking him out.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And your favorite, Canelo versus Crawford.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that's I honestly see Crawford as more talented than Canelo. I think where I stand with Canelo. I think there's been a lot of favoritism in boxing, but Canelo has proved himself in other ways. Part of everybody thinks I'm a Canelo hater, and it's really not the case. I just don't like to see people bend the rules to their favor. Canelo is the A side plus. He's like the A plus side. He's already got a couple in the bag before he even moves in to fight anybody. So just off that alone, I would say Crawford pretty much has to knock him out to win. You look at the Bivol fight with Canelo. Bivol dogged walked Canelo. I mean, if you disagree, please comment. But Bivol dog walked him. He did not win, but maybe one. I'll give him 2 out of those 12 rounds, right? And I think that's being generous because that's a giving. He'd never walked away emphatically with a round. Would you agree? He didn't.
I agree.
He never commanded any round in that fight. Okay. Bivol still barely won on the scorecard. So to pick against Canelo is super hard. Bud would almost have to stop him, but I think I would edge out Bud still. I mean, we're talking a majority decision though, because That's how close this fight would have to be for him to ever get an edge on anything.
I also have Crawford by decision.
We got no Paul. Canelo won 4 rounds easily. Please comment and tell me which rounds, if you remember, if you had your own scorecard. I personally did not see any round winning. Not really one. I'm gonna give him 2 just to be generous, but
I had him winning at least 2 or 3.
But again, it wasn't emphatically.
You know what I mean? Mostly
the
like
rest
swing,
of
it was mostly considered to me
like
swing round.
Exactly. That's not really winning a round. That's in a way just giving someone a round. When you win a round, it's more blatant in your face. The first 4, no, get out of here with that. I would see that very differently, but I have to go back to my scorecard.
So that's it for teams. Next up, we have Canelo.
Okay.
So for Canelo, we start with the humdinger of a fight. Beterbiev versus Canelo.
Man, look, he avoided the Beterbiev fight already. Look, he's willing to go up to fight other people. He went up to fight Bivol because he knows Bivol doesn't have that kind of power. Beterbiev knocks his ass out. Beterbiev puts him out 7 or 8. It's too big. It's too big for Canelo.
So I have Canelo by decision.
Of course you do.
David Benavidez versus Canelo.
This one's a little bit harder for me. Benavidez has been doing kind of the same type of shit that Canelo does. I can see Benavidez using his size to his advantage and eking one out. It's just a matter of whether the judges are willing to give it to him or not. So I might have to put that one as a draw too.
Oh, that was a draw?
I think so, just because, you know, how Canelo is treated in the sport.
Y'all know how I feel. Benavidez knocks his ass out.
How early?
7. It goes 7.
Okay. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not even disagreeing. That's definitely a possibility.
I'm going to save this next one for last.
He's, Canelo's facing 2 people that are not even in his weight class. So that's what my take on it all is. But go ahead.
Usyk versus Canelo.
Usyk. He ain't gonna be no knockout. Usyk's just gonna make him look silly. I really don't know a lot of people that can contend with Usyk.
I have Canelo by decision.
By decision, huh? I don't know. Let's see that.
Tyson Fury versus Canelo.
And I'm not allowed to talk about weight, right?
This is talent, not weight.
If they're both the same size, I'm gonna go off Canelo just off speed and coordination. I mean, it's hard to imagine those two coming together, so I just gotta go with what I got.
I got Tyson Fury by decision. I think he wears his ass out.
Leaning on him.
And then
does the Klitschko?
And the last but not least, Lucas, in all relevance, this is because this is the Super Bowl of fights. Jake Paul versus Canelo.
Oh my god. I agree with this comment. Come on now. What are we doing? I agree with the fuck out of here with that too. Get the fuck out of here with that. The fuck out of here with that question. You make me pick Canelo. That's all. Of course it's gonna be Canelo, man. Jake Paul ain't shit.
By decision or knockout?
Oh, he's knocking the hell out of Jake Paul.
I got it by knockout. For some reason, I had Bud and Canelo on here again, but we already went over that.
Man, Bud's way smaller than him. I picked Bud to knock him out now. He could weigh whatever he weighed at his last fight. Jake Paul could be weighing a cruiserweight. I'd pick Bud to knock him out.
That is it.
That was interesting.
So to go over this, me and you had agreed on, I would say 1, 2, 4. So we agreed 5 out of the 6 for Crawford.
Okay.
We agreed on we agreed on 1 out of 6 for Canelo. And you say you're not biased. And you say you're not biased, Lucas.
Look, you picked him against some big names, though. You picked names, and then you also said I can't talk about weight, right? So I have to imagine them both being the same weight. I mean, it is what it is. You picked some really good names. I mean, it's names that we haven't seen Canelo against. Lately, I also think Canelo looks like he's on the slide, but I think partially that's also because he's finally fighting at people that the weight that he should have been fighting this whole freaking time. But you don't want to talk about that, so I can't say nothing about that.
We agreed on 1 out of the 6, and the 1 was Jake Paul.
That's an obvious one. That's an obvious one. David Benavidez, I think, is really the most intriguing fight for Canelo just because of how big he is. It's actually at the weight that he's currently supposed to be the undisputed title holder at. So I would love to see that fight more than anything. If Saudis, are you listening? Saudis, please make that fight happen too. I would gladly watch that. I will pay you for that. And that says a lot because as Rob well knows, I don't pay for pay-per-view. You got to earn my money for pay-per-view. That one would earn it. But I would like a decent undercard too.
Beterbiev versus Bivol. You paying for it?
I'm paying for it. That's a fight that one I've been waiting for quite some time now, at least 2 or 3 years. Not to mention that the odds are just that close. If Vegas has that close of a fight, then they don't know shit either, and they're scared. They don't want to let too much money out on that table. And you can't blame them because it is just that closely contested fight. How many times do we even get a close fight, Rob? I mean, it's usually some style thing happens to where it's like a blowout, right?
Well, we don't know if it's going to be close yet. We honestly thought Errol and Crawford was going to be that. I'm not saying any fight anymore is even. To me, I think right now every fight there's somebody that's a little bit more polished than the other.
Let me ask you a question. Give me your honest answer here. I'll rapid fire you real quick. Do you think the eye injury had an effect on the Crawford fight?
No.
You don't think it was pre-existing from the damn crash? Right, I think this is something that's been bogging him down. You don't think it had anything to do with at all?
I don't think it was the eye. I think it's the lifestyle.
Because I'm not even saying
the lifestyle. And he admitted that because if he was living a true healthy boxer type lifestyle, he would know something's wrong. He would know he's not 100%, and he didn't. He just wanted to step in the ring and get paid.
Well, I'm not even questioning it because of Errol. I'm more questioning it because of Crawford, because we've seen Crawford go against a lot weaker competition and struggle a whole lot more. So either Crawford was so well prepared for this fight that he knew exactly what Spence had to offer and what he was doing, what his game plan was. He had his number down pat, or there was some significant other issues going on with Spence.
Well, it's probably
a little bit of both.
Probably both.
A little bit of both. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the show for tonight. Anything else you want to go over? Is that rapid fire? Okay. Well, definitely check out this weekend's fights. Again, we got Teofimo.
Thursday night.
Oh, yeah. Damn. I keep forgetting. It's so weird. Thursday night, the 8th, Teofimo Lopez, Jamaine Ortiz for Lopez's WBO welterweight. And then we have the co-main there, Keyshawn Davis versus Jose Pedraza, both going to be really good fights. That is ESPN Plus. But definitely check that out again. Watch Tough Talk. That's us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We don't pull any punches, and we'll see you again soon. Have a good night.